In this video, I'm going to be covering off 10 things you're going to need to know if you're thinking about moving to Pickering. Stay tuned. Hey, what's going on? My name is Brad Gates, and this channel is all about helping people that are looking to relocate here to the Greater Toronto Area, also known as the GTA. So if you are looking to relocate here, you're going to want to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell. That way you're notified each and every time I do post a new video. I post videos every single week, so you're not going to want to miss it if you are relocating here. I have people reaching out from all over the world that are moving here, and I absolutely love it. So if you are looking at relocating here, you can call, text, email, send the carrier pigeon, whatever is easiest for you, and I got your back when you're moving here. And so let's get into it. So our first point has to do with Pickering as a whole. So if you're looking at the map, you'll see that Pickering is right in between Ajax and Toronto. Within the Durham region, it's as close as you can get to Toronto without officially being in Toronto. It is an extremely large landmass. So again, if you're looking at that map, you'll see how large of an area Pickering actually is. And surprisingly enough, there's only 97,000 people that are currently living here. The sign as you're driving into Pickering says 92,000, but it just goes to show since the last time they've printed that sign and put it up, an extra 5,000 people have actually relocated here. On top of this, there's going to be future growth that's going to make that number go up quite a bit. There's a ton of growth going to the city as a whole that I guess a lot of people are looking at and wanting to be a part of. If you want to look at kind of what the average house prices are, as of June 2020, the average house price for a detached is $957,000. And you'll see on the screen, this is kind of what that house would look like. Semi-detached, the average house price was $681,000. So again, you'll see this is kind of what that price point would get you. If you, for the average for a link is $695,000. So links are detached homes above the ground, but then they're usually attached at the footings, and it's only on one side. It's just kind of a way that developers or builders were able to put homes on smaller lot sizes, because if you're going to go fully detached, they typically would need a required frontage that, you know, might not have been accommodatable. For town, you'd be looking at $691,000. So this is what $691,000 would get you for a townhouse. And that covers off our first point. So our second point has to do just with the landmass and what that's allowed the residents to be being able to enjoy. So there are 220 hectares or 543 acres of open space and parkland. There are numerous sports fields and trails. There's 4 conservation areas. So the first one is Altona Forest. The second one is Claremont Nature Center. The third one is Greenwood Conservation Area. And then the fourth one is Petticoat. So that's just some of the things that the residents of Pickering are able to enjoy. And that doesn't even cover off the waterfront or the nautical village or any of those things. Maybe we'll get into those in some of my other points. But that covers off our second point. Let's jump on to our next. So our third point actually has to do with Pickering having a nuclear power plant. So that's just something that if you ever watched The Simpsons, you'd see Homer Simpson, he worked at a factory. Well, that was actually a nuclear power plant. So Pickering is home to one of those. It's OPG, and apparently it was scheduled for closure. It was extended a little bit, so it was supposed to close in 2024, but then it got extended a little bit to 2025. And just because they actually closed down a power plant doesn't mean they can do anything with that land for a while, because apparently it takes about 40 years for the land to return back to normal. So this was a point that I just wanted to bring to people's attention in case they didn't know about it, because if you're moving somewhere and you have issues with being close to a nuclear power plant, then this is probably something that you would want to know. So you can do your own research on that to see if that would actually deter you from Pickering or not. That finishes off the third point. Let's jump on to our next. So our fourth point has to do with Pickering having a beautiful waterfront and a really cool nautical village. You can go to the beach, you can walk the waterfront trail, you can explore that quaint little nautical village. It has bars and restaurants and little bakeries and ice cream parlors, and it's somewhere that you can go not just if you're living here, but even if you're just visiting. It's something that, it's a really cool little place to go, and I go there with the family. And we just enjoy walking down. It's kind of like you feel like you're in a movie a little bit when you watch those Christmas movies where people are coming out of these little shops and, driving away. That's just kind of the feeling I get when I go there. It's really unique, and it's not something that a lot of places actually have. So our fifth point has to do with Pickering being home to some of Durham's best hiking trails. So the top two that were actually ranked is Petticoat Creek Conservation Authority and then Alex Robertson Park. Believe it or not, they actually go through a vigorous 50-point rating system. And what they do is they look at things like reviews and ratings and the reputation, the history of it, any complaints that had been received on it, and about 45 other things that I'm not going to go through the list on. But it is something that I was shocked to know that they actually rank these conservation areas in different parks and such. So that was kind of neat. So our sixth point has to do with Durham Live. So I don't know if you've heard about this or not, but it's actually being constructed right now, and it's a 240-acre property that is located at Church just south of the 401. And it's going to have a world-class casino, 600 hotel rooms. There's going to be a year-round indoor water park, VIP cinemas. There's going to be a professional film studio, so maybe we'll see some Hollywood type movies being filmed here. That would be really cool. There's a massive amphitheater that's going to be put up. It's 150,000 square feet of retail space that is going to be filled with different shops and stores that you can go shopping at. They're going to have fine dining and quick service options if you're hungry, pub fares, bistros. It's not just about the entertainment either, because this actually contributes about $1.3 billion in incremental annual GDP to the region. And it also would provide about $625 million in annual tax revenue. So that is absolutely amazing for the city itself. Our seventh point has to do with the potential Pickering International Airport that has been a conversation piece since at least 1972. That's kind of when everything kind of started with it. There's been so much back and forth on it that I don't think anybody even knows if it's going to happen. But it is something that I wanted to point out there just in case, because if it happens, it's going to be a positive for the area, because that means now Pickering has its own international airport. If it doesn't happen, then that's land that's going to be used for something, and whatever it decides to be used for, I can see it definitely being a positive to Pickering itself. So our eighth point has to do with the fact that Pickering doesn't have an official downtown. So when I refer to a downtown, I mean more of like a hub that is filled with office buildings and restaurants and condos and bars, similar to what you would find downtown Toronto or downtown Whitby right at Brock and Dundas, or in downtown Oshawa right at Simcoe and King. Something where you can just take a bus, go downtown, have your fun, and go home. So Pickering not really having that right now, but it is something that they've actually brought up and being something that they wanted. So it is something that they are looking to fix, but who truly knows when this would happen. So our ninth point has to do with the fact that Pickering actually has 3 marinas. Those marinas is Frenchman's Bay Marina, there's 10 Key Marina, and then there's also Frenchman's Bay Yacht Club. And all these marinas are actually in Frenchman's Bay. So the nice thing about that is when you're in the bay, it's actually, you're not as exposed to the waves that are coming in through Lake Ontario. So if you are new to boating, it will make it a heck of a lot easier when it comes to having to dock, because last summer actually we got into boating a little bit. And so I was able to practice docking a bunch, and it's probably one of the most stressful things that brought me flashbacks to when I first started driving when I was 16 years old and I was leaving the DMV and with my dad in the passenger seat, and it was just kind of like no music, no nothing. I had to focus. Well, boating is kind of like that all over again, for me anyways, because it was new. But the positive of having a marina here is actually the fact that now if you were looking at getting a cottage, and a house, now you can just buy a house because you can dock your boat in the marina and you can go out boating for the day, come home, and then actually just go home. So that's like a little bit of a plus. Our 10th and final point is the job growth here in Pickering. So Durham Live, which was one of my earlier points, when that opens, that's going to be creating about 10,000 jobs. So that's both directly and indirectly. I know the casino is going to have about 2,000 of those jobs, but that's 8,000 more jobs that are coming to Pickering that people are going to need people for. So it's absolutely amazing considering Pickering only has 97,000 people. So that's really going to draw people to move here. On top of that, there's other top employers that are here, like Municipal Property Assessment Corp, which is MPAC. So if you've ever wondered who's assessing the value of your house for property taxes, it is those people. And there's also OPG, which is that Pickering nuclear power plant that I talked about earlier. And that's another, it's right here in Pickering, and that creates a lot of jobs. That has a lot of jobs actually. So there's a ton of jobs here already. There's more coming, but then you're also really close to Toronto. So if you're looking for a place to move that has a good exposure to both current jobs and then future jobs, that's a great place to actually look at. Well, that concludes the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. It lets me know people are enjoying the content that I'm putting out there. If you forgot at the beginning, subscribe to the channel and click that little bell. That way you're notified each time I do post a new video. People are reaching out that are relocating here from all over the world, and I absolutely love it. So if you are looking at relocating here, you can call, text, email, send the carrier pigeon, whatever is easiest for you, and I'm here to really make your move and relocation go so much easier. Again, thank you for watching, and until next time.